Hey, it's me. Today I'm doing another video painting on things.
My jaw just cracked.
I made a video like this a couple months ago just because I just wanted to paint on random things that I felt like painting on in the moment, and somehow you guys ended up really liking that video. Well, if you like it so much, then I'll do it again. Over the days and weeks and months and years, I've collected a fair share of objects for the sole purpose of being painted on one day. Let's pull out the collection. Voila! Some of them may look familiar to you because I have painted on them before. Things like paint palettes, shoes, shells, racks, outlet covers, and bags. But there's also some random things in here, like this vase, this barn, this small star. We have lots of different options here. As I did last time, I'm not gonna make any decisions in advance. For the next couple days, I'll just be painting on things. Hopefully we have a good time doing that and you guys enjoy coming along on the journey of painting on random items. Let's do it. So looking over my collection here, I quickly decided what I wanted to start. I chose this little wooden star, and this was actually something that someone sent to me as part of a squishy package. I noticed that it has some pretty rough edges going on. I thought about sanding them down, but then I realized I don't feel like it. So I'm just gonna go straight in with the paint. Wow, wow, wow. I was eager to get started on this. I had no plan, no idea, took no prep steps. How am I gonna start painting without any prep steps? Because I didn't prep my surface, the colors are looking very dull, and I felt like I was just gonna end up having to keep on layering and layering, and the wood was just gonna keep on drinking and drinking that paint. So let's take a step back, rewind. I'm now going to apply a layer of gesso over this, which should help prep the surface and kind of seal in the wood so that the colors will pop, and it's like a nice protective barrier that keeps the wood from drinking all the paint. Please don't drink the paint. Yes, this is how we do it right. Just do it right, do it right. And as you can see, the color is going on much brighter and bolder this time. Good, this makes me happy. Yay! And by now, I've had a little bit more time to think about how I want this to look. The first time around, I was doing some sort of blendy rainbow something or other. This time, I'm gonna do something vastly different. Basically, blendy rainbow minus green. First layer is dry. Let the blendiness continue, matching up the edges to make a nice seamless transition from one side to the other. Although this is kind of looking a hot mess right now. I gotta go back over it a couple more times with some thinner layers of paint. Really focus on mushing those colors together nicely. Play nice, guys. This is how we're looking so far. It looks edible, especially that area right there. Just Anyway, this is cool, but definitely a little bit plain. I've gotten out my splendid gold metallic friend, pouring out some of that, and I painted on a little moon, which had a little bit less contrast than I was imagining. So then I popped out some silver, and I'm gonna add that in there in the form of little clouds. I was imagining sort of a sky, galaxy type of day and night fantasy, shiny things. Then going back in with my gold and adding some little stars on top, stars on the star, and it looks shiny. Let's do the other side. And I'm gonna do pretty much the same thing on this side. Just some What? Just some simple, sweet, shiny details to make it a little bit more interesting. And once that dries, I'm adding a gloss varnish. It's necessary in order to protect the paint. Here's the before and after. This was a very quick and simple little project, but I did enjoy it. It was a good warm-up. Not exactly sure what you're supposed to do with a little wooden star. I guess you just put it on a bookshelf. It can be a nice little pop of color, or in my case, one of many pops of color, all competing for attention. Moving on to the next item, I'm actually going to select this vase, or vase, right here. Grabbing that.
The vase.
I don't think I've ever shown this before. This is its debut performance. If you remember that massive cookie jar that I turned into a chalkboard, I wasn't sure how well that was gonna go, so I bought this as a backup. It did come from a thrift store, so there are some yucky little crumblies down there. Let me just take care of that. Also, it has this little embellishment. Wasn't sure if I should like emphasize that or just ignore it. I think I'm gonna ignore it. It's not there, guys. And here's the price sticker. I can barely read it. $3.95. I think. Let me take that off and let's get to the gesso. The surface of this vase was very smooth, so I was a little bit worried about how well it was going to accept paint, but it seemed to do just fine.
Good job, buddy.
So I was kind of into the blendy colors and the cloudy kind of thing that I did on the star, but I didn't get enough of it, you know?
I wanted more.
So I've drawn a horizon line and I'm now filling in a bunch of blendy color above the horizon. I guess it's a sky. Yeah. I am doing the full rainbow this time. Oh my gosh. Blendy rainbow. Didn't I do this last week? Oh no. I'm gonna get yelled at. I solemnly swear to do something different next week, okay? No blendy rainbow. This is it. I try to include a decent amount of variety for the sanity of you guys, but the truth is, I'm clearly insane because I could do the same thing over and over and over and still be obsessed. I apologize for my intensity. I will try to keep that in check in the future. But anyway, you must have noticed as I've been talking forever,
This girl talks a lot.
this really took a long time because it's a pretty tight gradient. The less space you have to blend, the harder it is. But eventually I got it to a place where I was somewhat happy. So now I'm creating a nice gradient of blue paint and I'm gonna be making
The ocean.
I just think it looks really cool to have a landscape, or I guess seascape, which is usually done horizontally, hence how we call that format landscape, but to do it in a vertical format. It's like making a little sliver of seascape. So I'm working on another section of blendy color, but this one is much faster and easier because blending blue with blue is a piece of cake.
Speaking of cake,
It's not cake, it's sand. Aw, disappointing. I'm adding in the sand and I'm positioned in a very awkward place in the frame. That's annoying. Okay, finishing up with the sand and we're rolling. Now I just need to clean up the edge of the water. I'm not going for realism, clearly, but I have a lot more fun kind of creating my own reality, you know? That sounds like I'm very unstable. Instead of trying to tediously recreate real life, I just like to kind of have fun with things and imagine how things look. There are problems with that. This is what can happen when you just make things up. I wanted to incorporate some other colors into the water besides blue, and not just one or two other colors, but all the colors. In my mind, this was a great idea, so I decided to try to add in the texture of the water with the other colors, but yeah, the execution is not all that great. I think I'm trying to make water sprinkles. It looks pretty weird and scattered and kind of like don't really know what's going on here. Not exactly happy with it right now, so I just moved my focus to creating some little clouds in the sky of rainbow and then back to this mess. I was thinking I should try to blend the colors out more so that they flow into the blue instead of just scattering them over top like salt and pepper. I guess I don't hate it enough to change it, so I just continued on with it, and I'm hoping that somewhere along the way I either learn to love it or I make some sort of miraculous discovery how to fix it. Spoiler alert, neither of those really happened. I think the problem is that I had this idea to incorporate other colors into the water, but I couldn't really picture how I wanted that to look. I was trying to figure it out with the paint, which sometimes works out, but not this time. I'm throwing on a clear coat, you know, wouldn't want anything to happen to this little treasure, and here is the final result. For me, it's not awful. I don't love it with a large section of my heart either. It's just very meh. I will say it is bright and fresh and colorful looking, so it does have some good qualities. It reminds me a lot of my hydro flask design, although my hydro flask is 1,010,000 times better. Let's actually, you know, let's not compare those two. That's not healthy. I do have this vase of flowers currently in my art room, and I always thought that the vase was awkwardly formal for the setting that it's in. Yeah, it's kind of cool how it's like the flowers are being watered by the ocean. I'm noticing that the horizon line is also really crooked. Oh well. Now for the last thing, I'm gonna go somewhere very different, and maybe you didn't expect this.
Surprise!
Technically, I'm still gonna be painting on things just digitally. Now what am I gonna draw? How about a blendy rainbow sky with clouds in it? No. I'm gonna be doing a drawing of a bunny sundae. Originally, I was just going to do the star and the vase, and that was gonna be the end of the video. But then I felt like that's just not enough, so I decided let's give it a bonus bunny. It's your gift, you're welcome, hooray. That will explain the sudden change in my nail color because I thought that I was done filming this video, so I went ahead and changed my nails.
Nobody cares.
I'm gonna do one of my favorite digital art tricks. Flip the canvas and woo! It really helps to see if there's anything that's looking really wonky and you can kind of fix it up a little bit. I wish that we could do this with traditional art. I mean, I guess you could take a photo and then flip the photo, but actually that would be pretty easy. You know what? I may do that next time. But you can't do this. Relocating the whole face. The sketch is complete now, so I'm just reducing the opacity, and now I'm going to ink it, which is normally quite a nerve-wracking and very permanent step, but thanks to the undo button, it's really not that scary at all in this case. Yeah. Once I get the general outline done, I'm just gonna take the time to obsess over every little pixel and make sure that it's all very neat and tidy, which is quite satisfying for me because I feel like I can just get everything so clean. Finally, I get to color all of it in, and look at that, I didn't even have to get my lazy butt up to get my paint because I have every color I could ever want right here. Obviously, I'm still fascinated by all the perks of digital art. I don't know how much you guys like watching it, but I have been having a lot of fun with it recently. If you ever want to check out what I do that I don't show on YouTube, you can see it all on Instagram. It is really fun to kind of go back and forth and throw in some digital art every once in a while. So hopefully you don't mind. By the way, if you are wondering what app I'm using to draw this, it's called Procreate. Now about the
Bunny.
you must be wondering,
What flavor is she?
hello, can you not see? Okay, never mind, that's obnoxious. She's strawberry, lemonade, half and half, ice cream thing. I quite like her little ice cream collar, very proper. I'm starting to work on her eyes, which I quite enjoyed. I ended up adding a glimmer of pink into her yellow eye, and then moving on into the pink side. Let me just first take care of some shading, details. Okay, and yes, you guessed it, I added a little glimmer of yellow into her pink eye.
That's a virus.
Side note, 2 different colored eyes is very cool. Just saying. I noticed the shadows were going a little bit deeper on her eyes than the outline was, which looked kind of odd. So bam, fixed it. Now the face really pops out at you. Hopefully not in a scary way. I kept leaving random smudges, so I have to search through every layer to find it and eliminate it. I am by no means an expert at this. I've only used this app for like a couple months, and so I'm still experimenting. You know, I'm not the greatest at it ever, but I really like doing it. I have a lot of fun, and I'm pretty happy with what I'm able to create so far. Oh my gosh, it happened again. We must go on another smudge hunt. How do I keep doing that? At this point, it's really just me adding tons and tons of tiny little touch-ups and details, and finally added my signature and the year, redid it in a million different ways. Just pick one, it's not that important. And there, it's finished. I feel like maybe I should have printed it out or done something that just makes it look more final. It's just there on my iPad. I do think that this drawing turned out really cute. I'm really happy with it. So that's it. Here are my 3 creations. I am really glad that I found the time to add the iPad drawing in there. I think it gives us a little bit more variety in this group and makes me feel a little bit better with this video as a whole. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye!